That's right! Hello, fellow hotshot Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Jacob Wile, too.
Guys, I think something's slightly off with all of you. I live in a world where, Dragon, say your name again? Your full name?
Blue Dragon 5.
Dragon, I swear to God, your name was Blue Dragon 7. Your name was Blue Dragon 7. Jacob, what's your last name?
Wile.
Jacob, your last name has always been Wiley. What's going on? You're all duplicates. Am I a duplicate?
Yes.
All right. Bit over.
I believe the word you're looking for was decoy, but sure.
Okay, so we are talking Mortyplicity. Guys, what do you think of this one? I thought it was a little bit of a step down from the episode 1 of the season, but I still really enjoyed it. I still think it's very high concept, and I really like that Rick and Morty feels like in a lot of ways it's kind of going back to its roots. This episode had a lot of callbacks to earlier kind of classic gags, and it still managed to be like really high concept in its own right. So I quite enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't think it's quite as memorable as the he's Mr. Nimbus Summer. He controls the police. But, you know, it was still a really solid episode, I thought.
Yeah, this is an episode that had me and then it lost me. I think it got a little too ambitious and heady for its own good kind of halfway through. I was really into it, and I was really feeling it. Kind of threw me back to the episode's name escapes me, but I want to say it could have been as early as probably season 2, given the Mr. Poopy Butthole of it all. The famous, the imagined family member episode.
Mm-hmm.
That one. So it kind of took me a little back to that, but and again, I was there, the opening and everything, and just again, we kind of stacked the teacups a little too high on this one.
Jacob?
Well, I will say this is probably funnier than last week's episode. I mean,
I don't know about that. Last week's episode was so quotable.
I mean, quotable doesn't necessarily equal funny, if you ask me. I mean, again, maybe the jokes were better, but this had like more gags, more overall humor than.
Sure.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say I would kind of agree. Probably not as good plot wise, but definitely like it harkens back to the other episodes that are more comedic and balls to the wall, crazy in nature. That this show is like pretty much how it established itself.
Yep, we try to kill God at the top of this one, so there's that.
So yeah, I mean, I said maybe not better plot wise, but definitely I think it's better comedy wise, if that makes sense.
That's totally fair. So it's interesting, Dragon, because I feel like you and I are in different positions here. Once again, shocking.
I know.
So it took me a while to warm up to this premise, just because at first I was like, okay, is this going to be kind of like a Morty's Mind Blowers type episode where it's like a bunch of different scenarios, and it kind of is that. Where the episode actually got me, yeah, Jacob?
It even had a slight callback to interdimensional cable.
It had callbacks to a lot of things. It had a callback to the pilot.
Yeah, I know.
It's up my ass, Morty! You gotta look up my ass! I got to admit, I can't tell you how happy I was to see a callback like that, because this is going to sound terrible, but I miss straight up abusive Rick. I mean, he's come a long way since then, and I appreciate the character development, but honestly, I think early Rick and Morty, when you go back to it, the humor really does lie in just how much of a piece of shit this guy is to his grandson.
Yep.
So that was a fun callback. Also, I love the callback with Jerry. I'm sorry, Dragon. I thought Jerry was in top form this episode. But with the Jerry, like, I'd like to see a ball game at every major ballpark.
Nope.
That made me laugh. That was a clever callback.
I think Jerry got some proper treatment in the post-credit segment of this episode.
Dragon, I'm sorry. We're just going to jump around because I need to get your reaction to that.
Yeah, so Wooden Jerry was again just the in terms of the representation of Jerry's worst qualities. That Wooden Jerry had he definitely needed a comeuppance, and my God, we gave it to him. You know that man. I'm gonna remind the kids. Okay, say we're like, what's so wrong with Jerry? Well, let me review, kids, just for a second.
Oh,
Sit
God.
down. Wooden Jerry left his family to die because
Yes,
there wasn't
yes.
enough varnish.
Varnish.
As in, like, a dumb idea that wouldn't have worked anyway. They all called out, and yet he felt so strongly about the stupid idea. He left his family to die. Actually, he intentionally killed his family by holding that door closed and locking them out so they would meet an end, and he was the only survivor. So he gets the living death of sentient wood. And we can begin with beavers to the beavers turning him into kind of a nest. I mean, I guess
the nest thing right there was honestly the most disturbing element of the whole thing for me.
And then he becomes
some body horror.
Then it becomes part of a dam, and then he becomes like a head-mounted fixture of a cowboy bar.
A cowboy dinosaur bar.
Yeah, so basically he keeps going forward in the future. The idea is kind of less and less of him per.
And then he was part of the cross for Christianity again.
Mm-hmm. You loop back around.
Christianity again after the Cowboys? And here's the thing, okay, so even in this fate, even facing this living death sort of thing, he's still very egotistical. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone. You still, as a head, you're that.
You know what? You're gonna complain. I thought that line was really funny because I thought it was.
No, I'm not saying it's not funny. I'm just saying.
I thought it was a punctuation of like, yeah, you wanted some comeuppance for Jerry, and here it is, and. Honestly, Dragon, I think it is among the most horrific things that's happened to anyone on the show.
I think it's very just. So I'm just I'm not critiquing the bit or anything. I'm just critiquing it, for Jerry. Like, you know what, Jerry? This is the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone. It's you calling that out for your own fate. You brought this on yourself, you little wooden head. And you know what? For what he did, maybe deserved a little worse. Next reincarnation cycle, you know what? Toothpick, or my preference, outhouse.
Oh man! Wow.
Yeah, down
he's
with
like
Wooden Jerry. Yes,
he's like the bottom plank of an outhouse.
Yes, I mean, yeah, he's exactly.
Oh
yes.
Man! Oh dear God! Yeah, down with Wooden Jerry.
Yes, Claude.
Yeah, Claude, you were supposed to be on the podcast tonight. I apologize. I let you know too late, and we had some microphone issues. But make no mistake, Claude. And everyone else, once Claude fixes his microphone issues, he will be back. We're just kind of running really late, so that's my fault, Claude. I still feel bad. Mm-hmm. Anyways, let's loop back around because, like I said, I think that the episode for me and Dragon, this is really the distinction that I want to make here. I thought the episode for me really got going once we got into the flowcharts and then once we got into the decoys of the decoys. And that was, to me, kind of like the Rick and Morty kind of like ramping it up. Because at first, to me, it kind of read a little bit like the Mahler twins from Invincible, like, I'm not the clone, you're the clone. And I was like, all right, this is okay. This is like pretty much the Rick and Morty take on that concept. And
well, I mean, to be fair, the Mahler twins is a little more kind of clever and kind of straightforward. But yeah, it's.
But I kind of just got that vibe, and then, but then once we kind of reached the halfway point with like the the resistance of the of the really deformed decoys, I don't know. Like you said, it goes off the rails, but for me. That stuff really cemented the idea, like that. Like when it got into the hard sci-fi of it all, I was like, oh, okay, so there's a bad Rick that made a bad decoy, and then the bad decoys made bad decoys, and then the bad decoys made bad decoys.
Yeah, those scarecrow-looking decoys remind me of the movie 9.
Oh God, yeah, I was getting that vibe too. I really was.
That's got to be like a 9 reference. It's gotta be.
Okay, so that was where the episode sang for me, Dragon, and it's funny that, like, I liked the first half of the episode, but when we got to the kind of the resistance part of the episode, I was really on board.
Well, okay, let me interject here. First off, I just want to highlight, though, I love the whiteboard gag. I'm always for a good whiteboard gag, so I have no compunction with the whiteboard or the Highlander gag. Those were funny. Now,
you haven't seen Highlander? Highlander? Jesus Christ, we need to rent it after this.
That was the whole thing. Connor is completely like he's playing a Spaniard. He's not cut out for it at all.
It's kind of funny that like Rick chastises a lot of other people's tastes and objectively good stuff, but when it's something like incredibly crappy, he actually defends it.
Well, to be fair, the original
Highlander has a tremendous following. I mean,
Highlander.
I know you're not saying that, Jay. I'm just saying that's.
I mean, maybe not necessarily crappy, but definitely not high tier. But I mean, don't get me wrong; it has its charms and all that.
There can be only one.
Is Evil Morty a decoy? I feel like Evil Morty is a character that's designed to fit into like any sort of thing like this that the show throws our way, and it's possible.
I think making Evil Morty a decoy is a little too easy.
These were decoys. Evil Morty is just a different dimensions version of Morty. I mean that much. That much
is so far as we know, but
it could be a different dimensions decoy.
That is an interesting point, but again, I don't know. Here's like so.
As I was trying to say, that's already been established.
All right,
that's what I meant.
All right, so so here's where I'm coming out of the episode in terms of the conceit, mainly the kind of the first half versus the second half thing. So. Yeah, basically this episode in total is, the whole decoy family, which is awesome, by the way. Again, the cold open is really solid. Like, something's off and like, the decoy family. So basically the decoys are intent not to just do the whole clone thing again after we did Clone Beth. The affair ended, I believe, what is it? Last season ended with the Clone Beth thing?
Yeah.
Right.
I like that this season kind of it puts Clone Beth like comfortably into the continuity.
I think her name's like Space Beth or something.
Space Beth. You're right, Jacob. You're right.
Right. Well, because again, they didn't settle on who exactly the clone was. Hence, you're right. Is Space Beth? Yeah. So,
I like that it's just kind of like it's to me this kind of like vaguely reminded me of a Rick Lantis mix-up episode, except obviously with less like continuity. But it's a Rick Lantis mix-up in terms of like there's this crazy storyline that's going on involving like multiple different versions of the characters and like a revolution of some kind, and then at the very end it's like, oh, that was some crazy vacation, huh? We even ran into Space Beth. Whoa.
Okay, well, first off, let me kind of touch on the Space Beth. Now we're just jumping there. I'll circle back to my point. So I've noticed like the pattern there that it seems that I wonder if this pattern is going to continue. That it really seems to kind of start with the previous episode. I mean, it's probably been going on like under our nose, like maybe earlier than that, but I would say maybe season 3 on. Let's just say there's been a kind of characterization pattern of we tease like last episode. We have a big tease at growth, but in reality, by the end of it, we actually just all of that was kind of a blown out of proportion kind of joke, and like we're on the precipice of big change, but we're gonna kind of shrink into like it's an inch forward, really. So it's an inch forward by the end of the episode. The inch forward in this case is like, okay, so Space Beth, we've accepted her as part of the family, which Rick again after everything's gone through last season, he's now done again with the whole kind of ushering some continuity again. So in that respect, so again, I think we're gonna keep. I'm wondering if we're gonna keep that pattern going as we continue out throughout that season. We're gonna tease major sweeping like, oh my god, decoy families, which was the real one, all this sort of stuff happening, but ultimately they were in space the whole time. Yeah, it's fine. Now, okay, so circling back to my thing on the episode. So I love the idea of a decoy family contingency, and then just bridging that idea off into okay, so in case something bad happens to the Sanchez family, it's a decoy family, so they suffer the brunt while the real family will survive. And then you get into the cool, heady idea of, okay, so he's going to have several of these decoy families, and each decoy family has like kind of a bit of a variance idea going on, a little Loki pull, a little variant idea of like something's a little changed in the DNA. Like there's a proactive Jerry, for example, which again is completely off from Jerry. So the productive member of society, Jerry. So, but so again, I
really quick, I love the just so we don't forget about it. I love the running gag of like, oh wow, so it's like Westworld. That's right, Morty. So don't fuck any of them. And then oh wow, it's like Ex Machina. Yeah, don't fuck any of them. Like that made me laugh out loud both times.
See, that's all that's right. This variant idea, I like it. Just the problem for me is it gets too heady with. at a certain point after the sentence, I can go to a point with the sentience in which, okay, all the decoys we're now raising the logical question of decoys questioning their existence and then trying to murder each other. I'll go that far with it. That's fine. Again, basically, after the whiteboard is where I start to have, like, when we get into the whole societal thing, it's that it just keeps going and going and getting more convoluted after the point of explaining the Asimov cascade thing. And at the end of the day, once we get kind of build upon and get more epic in the scope, it just makes me question the point of it all by the end.
I'll meet you halfway there, Dragon, because I was not a fan of how big the ending got with like the Star Fox, the big Star Fox,
the big head projection. Yeah, the president callback was cool though.
It's the proper term is andros.
Right. Yeah, I know. But that fell off of the rails a little bit. But I got as far in terms of like me following the concepts as okay, I love this idea that we've got like these almost kind of like Pinocchio decoys where they're, the decoys are questioning their existence in their own right, even if they look human. But then we've got these Pinocchio style decoys or these Sackboy decoys where they're just like they don't even like, they kind of like vaguely are sentient, but they're, they're almost kind of like robotic, and they've got that robotic voice where it almost sounds like a voice box. I don't know. Like, I really got into that stuff. I will admit the finale gets a little too crazy.
Let me pinpoint. There's a moment that precedes that where it's like things start to unthread for me.
Okay.
And then basically goes full unthreaded once we do like the 9 thing, like the 9 ragdoll kind of scarecrow family.
Uh-huh.
The moment where we have the squid reveal, like, okay, so squids are attacking the Sanchez family, and reveal, okay, the squids are decoys. That's where it starts to I mean, for me, ultimately, where it's like, okay, so now it's like, it's the idea of like a random threat is attacking him. So now it was the decoys from the beginning, and it's like, why all of a sudden are the decoys attacking? It's
Jacob, what say you on this?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it just kind of explained a bit like why they began to question why there were the decoys and all that, and then they should be the only decoys, etc., etc. But they could have. I mean, might just be us not understanding it, but they probably could have explained it a bit differently.
It's just like, why squids? Like, why out of the blue and why squids?
But Dragon, you're being the Jerry. You're asking the squid question. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that actually was a good. Jerry actually did raise those good points that earlier.
He did.
The whole Mr. That guy's name, by the way, I think if I read it right, it's Mr. Always Wants to Be Hunted.
Oh, hunt me!
Okay, you know what? I kind of wish that character was just like Mr. Poopy Butthole, because it's obviously the same voice and the same cadence. I didn't really get the joke with the hunt me thing.
Well, no, the gag is they're hunting all the other Sanchez families, yet not the guy who wanted to be hunted in the opening.
Right.
So so that was his payback for like, and if then we just called back, like, wait, were you important? Was this Tiki? Because that Rick doesn't know that.
I guess that the funny thing is the whole were you important? Because at the very beginning I was like, wait, what was that? What was that Mr. Poopy Butthole knockoff?
now to give credit where credit's due, Tiki.
He's basically him, but a lot less annoying.
Yes. Well. I mean, Mr. Poopy Butthole has his charms, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I would give the edge to Mr. Poopy Butthole. Oh God, I never thought I'd say that sentence in my life.
All right. Anyway, just to give credit where credit's due, though, I mean, something I can meet halfway on, I guess, with the latter half is that I do love the puppet reveal. So no, not the Scarecrow guys, not the ones that skinned Rick alive, but when we have this reveal of basically the idea that we've dressed the Sanchez family up like we don't know this until they unmask themselves. They're dressed like puppets because they're too cute to kill logic. It's just that whole like they're too cute to kill.
They almost look like Muppets.
Yeah, the Muppety. Yeah, sure.
And I love the delivery of the skinned Rick, where he's like, "Oh, this guy's really into skin."
I'm surprised they didn't throw in like a Silence of the Lambs reference there.
God,
sure. Like it rubs the lotion on its skin. That kind of.
Well, what I'm getting is I like the Muppety Sanchez family. That Rick had the most growth and development. Even accept that he probably is a decoy, but cared and he apologized to Beth and everything. So I love that we kind of added stakes within the chaos with that.
Except for the one who was like standing in the ocean with the rest of his family, and then when they were killed, the other Beth's like, well, maybe that Rick learned to deal with this shit.
Sure, and that's what I'm saying. Those Ricks were those Ricks in particular are teasing like a major growth that again, it's a mislead. It's like we're just going to inch forward at the end with the real Rick, but this is all just kind of what Rick could do, but he's not, because then the show would be over.
Because they're decoys.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you though, how did you guys feel? I think Beth was a little, as we call it in that scene, Jacob. When the Sanchez family that basically wiped that one out. Beth, a little snarky, a little hung up on the clone.
She's a little holier than thou, but I mean, Beth has always been my least favorite character. So
really,
yeah.
Okay, I forgot that was Beth was your least favorite. Okay,
I would rank Jerry over her just because Jerry makes me laugh more than she does.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, it's just a subjective comment.
I know. Fine. Feel what you're gonna feel. It. I find it incredible.
Actually, I don't know. I would probably rank her over Summer though.
So you're really not a fan of Summer? Well, that's fine. I know this. So you really
they're not doing a ton with Summer.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Summer's great when she shows up, but they're just not really doing a ton with her.
No.
All right.
To be fair, we did get the laugh of for God's sake, Summer, he's Mr. Nimbus.
Well, yeah, we got that, but I'm saying all of the actual stuff with Summer happened off screen. All right.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we'll see if Summer maybe perks up a little this season.
I mean, so far she's really gotten nothing this season.
Well, 2 episodes in, but you're right. That given that it's 10 episodes, it's still like a division of the season.
If we remember correctly, the few episodes that kind of focused around her last season weren't really up to par either.
Right, and also the freaking Mad Max episode, which is like my least favorite episode of the series.
Really? I forget how much you really don't like that
episode. That episode.
It's really, so ironic that you don't like that, given you your love of Mad Max.
The reason I don't like it is just because it feels like a lazy parody. Like Rick and Morty don't really go anywhere with the concept. Just like, we're doing Mad Max now. Okay,
that arm gag was wonderful. That arm runner.
The arm gag was fine.
Are you still talking about the Mad Max episode?
Yeah.
But Vindicators is the worst episode, if you ask me.
I would concur with that line of logic, yes. A Million Ants is funny, though, but anyway.
Yeah. So, I'm getting off topic.
Yes. Well, it's still on Rick and Morty, but you're right. Okay, so Claudia in the comments says, who's better, Rick or Morty? So, character-wise, guys.
Rick.
I'm going to say probably Rick, yeah. I mean, I want to say Morty, but I'm being honest, nah, it's got to be Rick.
I mean, in my opinion, for pretty obvious reasons.
Morty's been on the up. He's been on the
up, but he's got a long way to go. Like, we're not going to be quoting Morty quotes nearly as often as we're going to be quoting Rick quotes. Right, that's about all he's got.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. This is what we call the Rick and Morty Muppet Show.
Did they actually do a couple puppet shows for these characters? As bonus extras and stuff like that?
I think we have seen these characters as puppets at some point. I'm not sure.
I would love to see a Muppetized version of the opening to Rick and Morty.
I know there was several stop motion things, but I'm not sure. I forgot about the puppets.
All right.
Anyway.
Okay. Anything? I feel like we've kind of talked through the episode, and any other things we need to bring up about it.
Jacob.
I think we pretty much talked about everything. I just really like the ending. It's just almost kind of an anti-climax, but it's one that kind of works and there's kind of works.
Well, I just like how casual everything is with Space Beth and everything. It's like. We had so much drama with Beth and the clones in this episode, and then they're just chilling like Space Beth. Look at the look on Space Beth's face in this thumbnail. She looks so content.
This is going to be a really weird observation, but to me, every time I look at this scene, there's 2 ways to read this. Now, I like to look at it in the optimistic view here. I think it's so cute that Space Beth wants to sit up front with her son. I think that's cute. Now, the cynical way of looking
I think I know where you're going with it. Go ahead.
The cynical thing is, no, she has to be in the front seat with Rick, so it's just Morty's not moving, so she's gonna sit there.
Oh man, and like honestly, the regular Beth doesn't exactly like. She looks like less than content with the situation. I don't know.
And it's like how Rick is just like, yeah, shit. They just killed the decoy family.
Right.
I don't know. This Rick doesn't know that yet. I don't think he does.
I mean, that's how the episode ends. Is like
no, I'm pretty sure the shot right there that we have is Rick looking down at the radio as it's because see we got that little glow from the radio.
Oh,
yeah. Like I mean, I pretty much pulled this like directly from the ending.
Yeah.
Mainly just because of the humor of it.
All right.
So it's like they killed the decoy family, and they're like, the what?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, forget it. Right.
All right, so you guys want to bask in the glory of the Jerry post-credits scene one more time, just for kicks?
Not really.
I was just like, oh yes. Plus, again, this Jerry did some truly monstrous things. So
he did
through his stupidity more than usual. So he definitely deserved this.
As opposed to the stuff that Rick's coming. Why is it we forgive Rick for doing something like that, but not Jerry?
I know it's weird, right? It's just that I can't justify it well enough. But just Jerry again, it's the parasite thing. Jerry's just Rick at least will admit it. Jerry is just he still thinks he has the moral high ground.
Right,
somehow.
that's it. Yeah.
Rick even called himself God in this episode.
Yeah. I mean, again, we had a whole thing where he fought a god when he effed the planet, in that one episode. So, I mean, again, it's based on something.
So, yeah.
All right, guys, final thoughts.
Well, thoughts, again, look, I mean, there's stuff that absolutely works about this episode. I think it should have been a slam dunk, but I just I watch it, and I'm a little deflated at a certain point. I mean, just for reasons, I mean, either I'm just not like kind of jiving along with it. I'm just not quite. I don't want to get into that whole like stupid debate of like you need to have like 5 PhDs to watch Rick and Morty or something. Mm-hmm. You don't. But it's just the fact of it kind of lost me after a while. After we had like so many like contingents and we just kind of forgot. Like, what's the point if we don't know the real family? I mean, that's where I'm coming at it. But I had a lot of enjoyment otherwise. Though. I mean, again, the concept I think is really awesome.
As somebody pointed out, they did mention that these clones cannot go on space adventures. So they pretty much kind of revealed that none of the families that we saw killed were the original family.
Oh, we know that given the ending, yeah. So it's
It's kind of like a bit of foreshadowing.
Well, there we go. So yeah, it's good, not great. I mean, we'll see what happens next week.
All right, Jacob.
Now, like I said in my opening, I would say this episode's probably funnier than last week, but plot-wise, I wouldn't say it's as good. But the best episodes are the ones that kind of can strike a balance of both. So, yeah, so I'd still rank it below the last week's episode.
Yeah, I would definitely rank it below last week's too, but I had fun with it. I thought it was pretty high concept. And like I said, I love the callbacks, like the whole, like, Morty, you got to look at the barcode up my ass.
Oh, and the president. We got to mention the president.
Yeah, the president. We brought him up briefly.
Keith David returns once again.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the whole, like, I want to go to a ball game at every major baseball park.
Nope.
So I thought there was a lot of clever callbacks this episode. I thought there was a lot of heady sci-fi. It definitely scratched my itch as far as Rick and Morty goes. This definitely didn't feel like one of those episodes from season 5 from season 4 where it's like, wait, that barely even feels like Rick and Morty, like the Dragon episode or anything like that. Like this feels very on brand, and I'm happy about that. Not quite as up to caliber as the first episode, but usually the first episodes of Rick and Morty seasons are always among the best traditionally, so I can't really fault it for that. I'm excited to see where the season goes. I think they're 2 for 2 so far. All right, guys. Big thanks to Claude Karinga for tuning in, and we will get out of here. Have a good night, everyone. Oh, God, they loop back around from Cowboys.
This is the worst thing to ever happen to anyone.